Good. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. My name is Char. My dream is to become a motivational speaker. And can anybody tell me what a motivational speaker does? They uplift and they encourage, correct?
Yes.
So my job today is to uplift you and to encourage you on my mental illness and how I came through my mental illness. But before we do that, this is just to make everybody comfortable. I want everybody to just tell me what is their favorite food, starting with Sam. That's just to break the ice a little bit. What's your favorite food?
Salad.
What's your favorite food? What's your favorite food? What is your favorite food?
Lasagna.
Oh, I love lasagna. What's your favorite food?
Spinach.
I love spinach. You like it raw or cooked, or it doesn't matter? Boiled. And what is your favorite food, Pamela?
Greens, girl.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. I just want to do a quick disclaimer. I am not a physician of any kind. What I'm going to share with you today is my experience dealing with PTSD. Who can tell me what PTSD stands for? Post-traumatic stress disorder. That is a mental illness that I've had for a very long time, but it's manageable, it's under control, and I am doing fantastic. Okay? So we're going to kind of talk about PTSD. So we talked about what PTSD is and what the acronym stands for. Can anybody tell me exactly what it is? We know it means post-traumatic stress disorder, but what does it do? What does it cause? What does it mean? Go ahead.
It causes anxiety.
Yes.
Anxiety and depression.
Yes.
It's usually trauma related.
Yes. My PTSD is a direct result from trauma in my life as a little bitty girl. And it has followed me through my life. That's what it causes nightmares. PTSD can be caused by nightmares, anxiety, all of those things if it is not properly treated. Can we all agree on that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about how PTSD has affected my life. Again, mine is a result of childhood trauma. We are all grown in here. I am not going to get very explicit, but I am going to tell you my story, because my story might be able to change your life or somebody else's life, you know, okay? As a little bitty girl, starting at 4 years old, I was molested by my own brother. Okay? 4 years old. My mother knew it. She didn't do nothing about it. I went to foster home, group home, aunts, uncles, orphanage. Everywhere I went, I got molested. Men and women until I was 16 years old. Let me tell you how that affected me. It affected me relational with a man. Okay? Because a man was my first source of what? Pain. Yeah. So my relationship with men was, don't come near me, I do not do male aggression because of what my brother did to me when I was a little bitty girl. He instilled that in me because it was my first source of pain. Keep in mind, childhood trauma sometimes will follow you into adulthood if it's not treated. My mother never got me therapy. She never got me counseling. I call myself self-medicating myself. I call myself fixing myself. I thought it was okay to go around and have this aggressive nature, this aggressive spirit, because to men, all men didn't do this to me. A man did it to me, singular. All men didn't do that to me, one man did it to me. So it made me have an aggressive nature toward a man. For example, if, this years ago now, if I'm in the grocery store line and a man accidentally bumps me, I'm ready. I'm on 10 because you are my first source of pain. How dare you do this to me? How dare you do this to me? You didn't say you were sorry, because every man who molested me, I've never had an apology. My brother still walks around today. Matter of fact, we were just together the other day. And as I was sitting at the table, I was thinking to myself, of course, you know, I've been medicated. I have sponsors. My husband is a marvelous support system for me. I have a great support system. Now I can look at my brother because I forgive him. Why? Because today I do my counseling. I do my therapy, and what's most important, guys, I take my medication. I take my medication, and that medication didn't come easy. Sometimes the doctors will play. I don't want to use the term Russian roulette, but sometimes they'll try this medication, it don't work. They'll try this medication, it don't work. They'll try this medication. What I'm conveying to you is, don't give up. If you take this medication and it don't work, don't turn your back on that psychiatrist. Don't do it. Go back. Keep going back until you get the one that's going to set right with you. Okay? And the medicine that I take today sets right with me. I was at a party sitting right next to my molestor, my brother. And I just looked at him with forgiveness. Because I don't know what happened to him. If I was 4 and he 9 years older than me, let's do the math, that makes him what? 13. If I'm 4 and he 9, that made him 13. How I know he wasn't molested and never got therapy for his, never got counseling for his, never got medication for his. Okay? So my job, I have 2 sons, they're grown. When I was raising my kids, I was so insecure that what happened to me, that was going to happen to them, I wouldn't let them out my sight. I was scared to let anybody watch them. The only person that could watch my kids was my mother. And if I called my mom's house and one of my molestors was there, because my brother wasn't the only one, I would be like, oh, my mom on my way to get him. Can I see mama? She used to say, baby, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Follow therapy. Follow counseling. My best advice. Take your medication. Not sometimes. Not when you feel like it. Every day at the same time. Just like you brush your teeth routinely. Come on now. Most of us brush our teeth. For me, I groom myself. Brushing my teeth the last thing I do before I go out the door. I take my medicine just like I brush my teeth. Because you want that chemical to get in your body. The chemical can't get in your body and work if you're going to take it today, not tomorrow. Take it today, not tomorrow. It's not going to work. You can't go to work today and not tomorrow. Huh? Your paycheck going to be what? Short. Who want a short paycheck? Not me. Not me. You got to take that medicine consistently every day at the same time. That's how the chemical gets in your body. Okay? Okay? Them circuits in your brain get to working. And that's what I want for you. I'm here as a living testimony to let each and every person in here know you can get over whatever mental illness you are dealing with. PTSD is a heavy elephant that I carried for years. I didn't have to carry this. If I had known early in life that all I had to do, get some mental health. I didn't know that. I self-medicated myself, drugs and alcohol. I thought that was going to fix it. I thought drugs and alcohol was going to fix my behaviors. It did not. It wasn't until my higher power did therapy, counseling, and medication. Okay? That's what you have to do. You cannot self-medicate and fix nothing. You're not big enough. Okay, that's why they have psychiatrists, counseling, and therapy. It's amazing to be able to talk to somebody about. Sometimes when you talk to a person about what's going on with you, it relieves something in you. And when you leave that place, them endorphins be going out. It feel like almost you can fly. You just be walking to the bus or your car. You just be feeling so good because you didn't let that stuff go that has been weighing you down like cement, like concrete. I am a living testimony. PTSD does not have to be your life. It does not have to be your life. Can y'all agree with me? It does not have to be your life.
Okay, we ask a question.
Sure.
I just wanted to know, to share, you to share, if you will, with the class, where are you at now with?
Well, we're going to get there.
Okay.
Thank you. So let me just go on just a little bit further how PTSD affected my life. I have 2 sons. I mentioned that earlier. They're grown. They're big. PTSD, like I said, it affected me where I had an aggressive nature toward a man, male. It didn't matter because you were my first source of pain. I raised my kids kind of strict, and you don't do this, and you don't do this, and you don't look at a woman like this. I know you ain't in the bathroom with your cousin. I know you. Why are you looking at her like that? And then you be like, Mama, calm down. I'm not. But in my sick thinking, all men was the man that touched me. All men was the man that touched me. So I had this thing in me that I tried to keep my kids wrapped up in this cocoon instead of letting them fly like a butterfly, like like the universe created them to be. Okay? So I said all that to say, if my mom had got me medicated, therapy, counseling early in life, it would have saved me so much heartache. I wasted so many years trying to fix myself. Oh my God. I can't get the years back, but guess what? The years moving forward, it's been amazing. My life within the last 5 years is phenomenal, okay? I don't have to deal with that no more. I can look at my molestor and know in my spirit that I forgive him. I know he's sorry. He don't have to verbally tell me. His body language tell me he's sorry. His body language say that. He don't have to say it. I know he does. Let me tell you a story. My mama died in 2019. I had never forgave my mother for allowing my brother to do that, and she never did nothing about it. I loved her, but I had this thing that I just couldn't get. Every time I got mad at her, I would bring it up. I might not say it to her where she could hear it, but I might say something like, that's why your son did that to me, you ain't do nothing. I had that in me all the time, and I held it against her, which was the wrong thing to do, because if I had got counseling at an early age, I wouldn't have had to go through that. Anyway, my mother was in ICU, and they pulled her off the plug, and we all had to go in there. Actually, I have it on film. I wish I could share it with you guys. And I asked everybody to leave the room so I could be in the room with my mom by myself. I just wanted to talk to her. She was in a coma, on ICU, pumps, all this stuff in her. And come on. I held her hand and I told her what? I said, I forgive you. You are not perfect and neither am I. Because prior to me telling her that, my aunt, her sister had told me, guess what? My mom was molested her whole childhood. Wow. I never knew that. Yeah. That's why she didn't deal with mine. Because nobody dealt with hers. Wow. It's a generational thing. No one got help. No one got therapy. My grandmother didn't get my mother help. My grandmother's mother didn't get her no help. But I'm here to stop this generational curse today. You hear me? Yeah. It goes no further. Yes. It goes no further in my family. So you got to stop generational curses. And that don't mean with violence. All right? It don't mean getting back at somebody, fighting somebody, or doing violence. It don't mean that. Go get you some therapy. Go see a psychiatrist. Get you some counseling. Get on your medicine. Take it routinely every single day at the same time. Even if you have to tell Siri, remind me to take my medicine every day, Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday. She will. So it's no excuses not to remember to take your medicine, baby, because these smartphones will do it for you. Am I right about it? They'll do it for you. So it's no excuse. So after my aunt told me, my mother had been molested her whole childhood and my grandmother never did nothing about it, something just clicked in my mind. So when I went to see her that day after they pulled the plug, I asked everybody to leave the room, and I held her hand, and it was like this electric. As I held her hand, I felt something electric between her and I. I can't put my finger on it. And I said, Mama, just squeeze my my hand. If you hear me tell you, I forgive you. And she did. The sun came. You talking about the sun? This whole glow came about the womb. And it was okay to watch her transition. Okay? It was hard before I had talked to my aunt. And my aunt told me it happened to her. She didn't know what to do. She didn't, when it happened to her baby, me, her daughter, she didn't know what to do. My mother had 14 children. I am number 11, and my mother was 23 years old when she had me. Do the math. Wow. I'm going to repeat it. My mother had 14 kids. I'm number 11, and she was 23 when she had me. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot. She carried a lot. I do not blame her. I don't. And I'm so glad before she transitioned over, she was able to feel and hear that her baby girl forgive her. You hear me? I've not been the perfect parent myself. I used to be a drug addict. Crack. I was in love with it. He was my boo, my man. But nothing came before him. Nothing. Alcohol, my man. Nothing came before it. I had to start going to meetings consistently. So you can't do nothing every now and then. You can't, let me tell you something. You can't lose weight every now and then. Come on now. Let's talk about it. You can't go on a diet today and tomorrow eat pizza. Come on. Am I right about it, sister? Consistency wins the race. Am I right about it? Yes. Consistency wins the race. You have to be consistent in everything that you do. That gets what? Come on, somebody, start with an R. Reason. You heard that? Consistency get results. If I hadn't been diligent, staying on my grind, keeping things in my mind, I would have never. If I told you how long I was in love with crack cocaine, you would have fell on this floor. Jesus. I was in love with it. I have 17 years clean this April the 4th. 17. 1-7 every day. One day after another, consistently. Not have a day and jump back on it. Every day. And you know how I did it? Can anybody tell me how I did it? Just guess. Class participation. Somebody guess how I did it. That's one. Pardon me? I did. This was my motto when I first got clean. Let me show you my motto. I remember my first clean day. And then I woke up the next day and said I got 24 hours. That's what I told myself every day the first 5 years. If you do what you did yesterday, today, you won't get high. And I said that every morning I woke up. Just do what you did yesterday. Even if that meant eating the same food, watching the same TV program, you hear me? Staying around the same people, or staying in the house, wearing the same hairstyle, okay? I did the same thing I did yesterday that day. And before you know it was 7. I'm like, wait a minute, 8, wait a minute, 9. Oh, I know I ain't got 10 years. Come on now. Help me somebody. You hear me? You got to do the same thing you did yesterday today. And let me tell you something. Does it get boring? Absolutely. I didn't have no friends. None. I was bored out of my mind. I ate myself into a frenzy. I ate myself to over 200 pounds because I had nothing to do with my hands. I'm used to doing something with my hands, okay? I'm used to doing something now. I don't have nothing to do with my hands. Then guess what happened to me? My first 6 months clean. I had an aneurysm. I had an aneurysm. I got up to go to church one morning and the room was spinning like you've been on the merry-go-round, you've been drinking. I'm like, I know I got 6 months. I don't even know why this room's spinning like that. My son said, Mama, lay back down. Lay back down. So I laid back down. It still didn't go away. Went to the doctor 3 times. Guess what he kept telling me? You got vertigo. I said, okay. He gave me some vertigo medicine. I took it. It still didn't work. Something told me, go to a different hospital. I ain't gonna name no hospitals. I went to a totally different hospital and the angel walked in the room. He said, ma'am, I ain't getting ready to guess. I'm about to just give you an MRI of your brain. He came back in the room after the MRI about an hour later, and he said, good news and bad news. I said, bring it on. He said, the good news is the best brain surgeon is at University Hospital. The bad news is you've had an aneurysm, and it's another one about to burst. You got 14 hours to get that, have brain surgery, call your family. Okay? If crack cocaine didn't kill me, the aneurysm wasn't. Hello? Hello? It was horrible. I'm still here, guys. I'm still here. I'm actually writing a book, you guys. I'm still here. That little girl who peed in the bed to keep her brother from touching her. I used to pee in the bed intentionally so he wouldn't touch me. Who wants to be next to somebody with bed wet? You know how it is. My mama, I got whooped for it. She thought I was peeing in the bed because I was lazy. No, it's to keep your son off me. But I wasn't strong enough to tell her that. Okay? I peed the bed. That's the name of my book. It's called The Bedwetter. And it's about a little girl who went through traumatic incest. Not just my brother. If I counted everybody from the age of 4 to 16, it would be 10, including women. Foster care, okay? Everywhere. You're looking at what? PTSD. You're looking at somebody who is living with it and is doing well. I am an accountant for Buskin Bakery. I don't have no background in the county, okay? I'm not a CPA by no means. Okay? You're looking at somebody that is married 5 years. Sons is doing well. My son went to the penitentiary for 10 years as a result of my actions, drugs. I felt I was his first introduction to drugs because I did drugs. If you got children and you doing drugs and alcohol around them, let me remind you, you are their first introduction, not television. You are their first introduction, not TV, not media. You're showing them exactly what it is. And that's what I did to my son. But today my son will celebrate 5 years free from the penitentiary and 5 years on the same job. Hello? Woo! Okay. Ma'am, did you want me? Oh, okay. So this is what overcoming PTSD looks like. So whatever mental illness you are suffering with, therapy, surrounding yourself with. Also, let me say this before I move on. Who only here know what a great support system means? Woo! Ain't that it? Yeah. When you got a good support, ain't that it? When you got somebody who's right there for you, you can call any time of the day, or who can see something in you when you can't see it in yourself. You understand what I'm saying? I can give you an example. When my first year clean, after I had my aneurysm, I'm laying in the bed, I can't do nothing, I'm eating everything, I'm looking like Miss Piggy, and my friend came in my house and he said, whatever on your mind, don't do it. And I said, what you talking about? He said, I can look in your eyes that you tired of laying in the bed and you want a beer. And I did. That's a good support system. Somebody that can point something out because they so close to you and y'all have such a good relationship, he can see something in you that you can't. And he told me that I was this close to drinking the beer. This is my sister, Sandra. I told her a story. I was so depressed because right after my aneurysm, they was going to give my son life, but they didn't. He ended up getting 10 years. So this girl had came over that I had used before. I had used drugs with. This about 6-7 months in my sobriety. So sometimes a person's presence can trigger you to do something you know under normal circumstances you wouldn't do. Come on now. But it's to me, she looked like it. She looked like a lighter or something. Because soon as she came in my house, them things in my head was like, wait. And I got to fidgeting, and she said the magic word, you want me to? I said, yeah. I'm looking for my money. I sent her to go get it. She never came back. She ran out. Thank you. I'm glad she did. One day I was sitting on the porch and I saw her coming down the street and she goes doing this. I said, come here, Teresa, come here. And she said, girl, I'm gonna pay your money back. I said, baby, that $10 saved my life. Thank you for not coming back. I cried and hugged her. Thank you for not coming back. That $10 saved my life. You hear me? And never thought of it once again. That's how easy. Just a trigger, a smell can take you back where you used to be. I used to have a thing about aluminum foil. Anybody know anything about aluminum foil? When you're a crackhead, you make pipes out of aluminum foil. Yeah. I'm just gonna be real with you. I didn't allow aluminum foil in my house for a long time. I didn't allow it because that rip was a trigger. Anything that's a trigger for you, you need to kick it to the curb and don't go back and get it. Kick it to the curb and do not go back and get it. Don't go back and get it. Because a trigger can do what? Turn into 10 years of you chasing that same thing. Just chasing. And it's not even worth it. I feel very good about myself. I have a loving family. It's easy for me to love on other people now that all of those hindrances and those blocks that I had in my life are slowly dissolving. I used to have an elephant on my back. Now it's like a butterfly. I can fly now. You hear me? You hear me? So whatever mental illness that you are dealing with, this is how recovery looks. This is how it looks. And my dream is to be a motivational speaker, she'll tell you. My dream is to be a motivational speaker because I want to uplift and encourage people and let them know it is possible. Ain't it possible to overcome things? Who in here is an overcomer? Who are overcomer? Come on now. All the overcomers, raise your hand. You can overcome. And this is what overcoming looks like. This is what it looks like. Keep all your ducks in a row. Do the same thing you did the day before. Even if you have to go to Family Dollar and buy a dollar notebook and keep a journal. I used to do it. Everything I did, I wrote it down. Okay? Then I got a job. You know, you carry them behaviors into your job. When you get employed and you dealing with mental illness again, mine was PTSD. I carried some of that stuff into my job, into my relationship. I can't believe I've been married 5 years. This is something out the record book, okay? I couldn't keep a relationship. Prior to this, I couldn't keep a relationship. I couldn't. Because if I wasn't in control, if I wasn't dominant, I didn't want nothing to do with me. Because my first source of pain, you will never get the upper hand on me ever again. That was my philosophy. Okay? I don't have to think that today. I don't have to think that today. Because I stay consistent. I surround myself with good people. I got a great support system. I do my therapy. I do my counseling, and I take my medication. Okay, and I do stuff like this. Yeah. I run a nonprofit. She has the T-shirt on. We volunteer all over the city. We feed the homeless, men, women, and children. That's me giving back. That's keeping me sane. Okay? Because sometimes if you sit in the house by yourself, you know, you in bad company. Amen? Sometimes if you stay in the house by yourself dealing with certain issues, you are in bad company. Sometimes you got to get out and be amongst other people. And that's kind of what I enjoy doing. Do we have any questions? You can ask me anything. Anybody got any questions? You got a question? You got a question?
I do got a question. Kind of figure out how to word it.
Say it any kind of way and we'll figure it out together. Because I'm here to encourage and uplift.
I was gonna say I've had my mental illness from when I was 18 all the way up till I was 28. And so I had major depression and schizophrenia.
Okay.
But when I realized what made me depressed, I was able to get rid of my depression. So my schizophrenia went away.
Okay.
Because my depression was fueling my schizophrenia.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
I like that.
So schizophrenia is gone, but the depression comes back every now and then. Sometimes I wonder, like I would ask you, are you grateful that you went through what you went through to get to where you're at today?
I think if I hadn't went through what I went through, I would not be the phenomenal woman I am today. And to piggyback on what you said, I had PTSD and anxiety at the same time because I grew up in dysfunction. Stuff was never in order. You know, I mean, just imagine 14 kids. We all staying in shacks. It wasn't no, you know, different strokes type living, Brady Bunch. We stayed in shacks. You hear me? It might be 10 of us in one bed. You know? I suffer from anxiety, and it's different levels and different phases of anxiety. My anxiety is order. If something ain't in order, I ain't gonna be able to stay. I can't. My house is in order. My car is in order. My office at work is in order. Organization. My anxiety stems from unorganization. If stuff is not organized, it gives me anxiety. Anybody else deal with that? I'm an organized human being. Everything about me has to be organized. If not, I can't even explain to you. I can go over someone's house and they invite me in and I sit down. Now let me go over there and there's trash here and this here and the dog is barking and the kids is hollering, the TV loud and the phone is ringing. Oh wait. I'll be like, well, baby, it was good to see you again, but I'm going to go on and go. That's anxiety. But once I noticed that once I start getting my PTSD under control, the anxiety got smaller. I'm not saying I don't still have it, but I do. I probably do. If my husband unorganized the kitchen, I'd probably blow up on him, okay? Because I'm an organized person. But that was the root of my anxiety, was organization. Go ahead, brother. Any other question? Go ahead, brother. I see you got another question. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
I don't really have a question right now. I'm just thinking.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Anything?
Are you a member here?
No, I am not. My sister is a member here.
Right.
Yeah. I asked, one day we were on the phone together and I asked her, I want to do more. I want to do more to help people. One of my famous phrases is, to whom much is given, much is required. I cannot keep this to myself. I can't be an overcomer and not help other people overcome. Okay? You can't do that. You got to be able to share this because somebody else can live out of my testimony, right? So I asked her, I said, do you think they'll let me volunteer in there? And she said, yeah. And she said, well, let me talk to the guy. And then Chris Bedetto, I hope I say his last name, he ended up calling me. So I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to be able to uplift people and encourage people and let them know what it looks like to be an overcomer. Go ahead, young man.
When did you start getting open with your therapist to talk about the things that was really going on with you? Because it took me a couple weeks to start talking about what was going on with me with my therapist.
I'm going to say, to be frank with you, my first therapy wasn't until I was in my 20s. And from the onset of therapy, I was raw and uncut. I've had therapists not want to keep me as their case because she told me my case was too heavy. I don't want to use the term Russian roulette. I played, I don't know, spin the bottle. What's that game where you sit down in the chair and somebody else? I played musical chairs until I found one that I knew it was for me because I was able to let it all out and cry and from letting it all out, he started just little by little. Building. But I didn't get my first therapy till I was in my 20s. And that's because I decided that I wanted to do it on my own because I was tired. I had I had my first son by then. He was like 7 years old, and I felt myself taking anger out on him. He a little boy that I should be saying to my brother. I've never told my brother, you should apologize to me. Don't you remember what you did to me when I was a little girl? I ain't strong enough to do that. But today, I know he's sorry about his actions. He ain't got to say it out of his mouth. Sometimes a person don't have to say they sorry. Their body language, the way they move. I know he's sorry. He ain't got to say it. And guess what? I forgive you. Go ahead, Sister.
I just wanted to say that, knowing what my sister goes through, I just wanted to say that some people, it's always good to, to talk things out, because keeping things a secret, it suppresses, it will suppress it, and it'll make you sick. So, some people go to therapists, if you got a therapist and you hiding something, that is not good,
That you hear?
Do is to be open with it.
Open and honest.
You can get, you can recover from your lived experience if it'll help you a lot if you talk with someone about it.
Go ahead, young lady. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm
Good.
all right. But how did your process of dealing with your mental illness, is that okay if I say?
Say it one more time.
How did the process of you dealing with your mental illness affect your marriage? Like, as far as how did your husband receive, or I guess
That's a very good question, and I know where you're going with it, and I'm here to.
The reason I asked that because I've been married almost 6 years, and just the last year, I just now started being a little bit more open and honest about the condition, because he knew something was wrong, but I was like, I know something was wrong, but I didn't really necessarily deal with it yet until I was more vulnerable about, okay, this is what I'm dealing with, and have to go pretty much train him on understanding my mental illnesses so that he can really understand, so that he's not offended or misunderstood, why I act certain ways or something like that.
That is a very good
I
question.
wasn't dealing with it like I am now. You know what I mean? So he didn't really understand what to do, and I didn't understand what to do. But
Okay, so the first. Okay, when you're in the dating phase, you put your best behavior on. You have a representative. It wasn't me. I had a representative being all googly and oogie and hugging him and being all lonely. It wasn't until we got under the same roof that the skeletons came out the closet, and he like, oh, wait a minute. I don't remember this. Wait a minute. I don't remember you. Wait, what's going on? And when we got up under the same roof, I am embarrassed, devastated of the way I treated him, because he did not deserve what I did. I was mean, evil, nasty. I was a horrible person to live with. How he stayed, it beats me. I would have left me. He didn't. And then one day I just told him. And he said, I already knew it was something. I couldn't put my finger on it. He encouraged me. He said, I know you've been in counseling before. He said, but this time, go full-fledged. Jump in it with both feet. If you throw your whole being at something, you can't lose. It's just like throwing an axe at a target. You're going to hit the bullseye if you throw everything you got in it and keep a positive, open mind. Am I right about it? Yeah. And this time, instead of going to therapy some days, not the next. Going this day, not the next. Taking the medicine when I felt like it, not the next. I did it consistently every day at the same time. I never missed an appointment with my counselor, my therapist, my psychiatrist, or nothing. And I've told you my story of incest. One of my biggest problems with my husband was intimacy. I don't care for it. It wasn't my thing. Just gonna be real with you. It wasn't my thing. A man hurt me first. I equate that with force and violence. That's what I equate it with. Doing that, honey, no. But the more I got therapy and realized where that pain came from, it didn't come from every man. Okay? It didn't come from him.
It certainly didn't come.
It came from them few people. It didn't come from him. Now, young lady, within the last 3 years, it's phenomenal. I wouldn't trade him for I wouldn't trade him for, what's that rich man name? Elon Musk, the guy who owns Amazon. I wouldn't trade him, because if you can stick with me through that and encourage me and uplift me to go get the help that I needed, and now we living in bliss, okay? It was very hard, my sister. I'm telling you, it was the hardest thing. I don't know how he stayed. I was very hard to live with. My oldest son came over one day and said, Mama, why you doing him like that? And I shrugged my shoulders and started crying. I said, son, I'm so used to being mean to me and I don't know how to stop. Help me stop, son. I don't want to be mean to him no more. He good to me. He the best thing that ever happened to me. You hear me? My son said, Mama, please stop. And I worked on it, so just work on it. You'll get through. Okay.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
And be honest. You know, the truth shall set you free. Okay? Just be very truthful. Any other questions? Because we're going to wrap up in a little bit. Go ahead, my brother.
I burned a lot of bridges during mental illness, you know, because I was dealing with a lot of stuff that I didn't realize was wrong with me, but everyone else around me was noticing what was wrong with me. So when I got through that 5 years of recovery and then I got out, I've been trying to help my family, you know, get better also, because when I got out, I started noticing things like my mom has a real bad anger problem. She's always depressed, and I'm trying to help her with that. And by trying to encourage her to go to therapy, I buy her books and stuff to read based off the stuff that I've read that's helped me. Do you ever think of speaking with your brother or anyone who in your family who has gone through these experiences also to try to get them help also to deal with their own issues?
Let me tell you my philosophy on that, because sometimes you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. You know, my philosophy on that is just to be a phenomenal example.
Ooh, yeah.
That's how I know my brother's sorry. If I was still living in the trenches, smoking and drinking and running here trying to get crack, I wouldn't feel that energy from him. I get that forgiveness, that I'm sorry energy from him, because I'm in a good place. And this is how I know that what I'm doing affects him. Mind you, we don't have a relationship. I see him, I can see him in Kroger's, and ain't no conversation, what up, and I'm gone. One morning he called me, this has been about a month ago. I told her, I'm getting ready to go to service. He called me on the Sunday morning, I'm getting ready for service. He said, where you go? I said, who is this? He told me, such and such. What time it start? Such and such. So when we get there, he sits right next to me. I felt a little uneasy. I told my husband, you get in the middle. I don't want to be that close to him. But as service started, I felt it. And he gave me a look that I will never forget. I knew then he was sorry. And guess what he told me when we got to the parking lot? You have set a great example for somebody that's been through what you've been through. Sometimes an example is enough. Sometimes just being an example for somebody else. You hear me? Because I have a son, I have two sons. My baby son, he has psychosis. He used to get SSI. He was in IEP in school. He was ashamed of catching that little small bus. He had real bad anxiety about somebody seeing him on that bus. And I remember when he turned 18 years old, he said, Mom, I don't think I need this anymore. He was talking about his check. I said, why you say that? He said, because it makes me different and I don't want to be different anymore. Long story short, he's been at the post office and Amazon for 10 years. 10 years. Okay? We overcome. It's nothing you can't overcome. Right about it? Whatever you're dealing with, you can overcome it. mental illness, addiction. Okay? You can overcome it. Thank you for letting me share, guys.